as an Asian American perceived to be a queer woman, you are very much against the norms of what people think Asian Americans are traditionally presented as. So I would gain some amount of attention just walking into rooms or in public places. And now, as I am taking testosterone and my voice is changing, I will have gone from being perceived as a non-traditional queer woman to being ignored as a seemingly perceived heterosexual Asian American guy. And that's going to be really interesting.
So what was it like growing up as a young trans queer person in Irvine?
Irvine was such a very heteronormative, family-oriented place. So my coming out was kind of like an organic multi-step process. Where I was 16 years old and came out as bisexual. And then as I progressed through college and started to meet more people and learn more about the world, I was like, actually, I'm a lesbian.
Okay, so you were coming out multiple times, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely multiple times. I was on the women's rowing team in college.
Okay.
And was identifying as bisexual when I first entered that team, and by the time I left it, I was a lesbian. And then I
not related to the team at all.
You know what? It might have been, potentially.
Okay.
And then I moved to New York and got even more exposed to just people who were living their best life by being exactly what they felt that they needed to be. And I was like, actually, you know what? I've had this kind of underlying thought that maybe I haven't been particularly true to myself, or I haven't been living in a particular way that I would like to explore. And so I started asking people to call me by they and them pronouns, especially people super close to me, and found that it really calmed me and helped me live my best life. And 1 month and 2 days ago, I started on testosterone.
Okay, wow. So how has it been going from lesbian to genderqueer or non-binary to this new moment?
To this new moment.
Yeah.
It's really interesting just in terms of how I view my place in the world, especially.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
When I started to want more people to call me by they, them pronouns, I tried to bring my office on that journey with me. And
how so?
Just by informing them, letting them know, telling them in the most basic way. A lot of them were friends with me on Facebook, and I did make a Facebook announcement, a Facebook coming out, if you will.
Explain gender dysphoria to people who may not know what you're talking about.
The way that I would describe it is just this kind of disassociation between how you know you're perceived and how you feel.
That you put that really well, actually. Really, really, really well. I get that, the concept. So what does it normally feel like for you?
For me, it manifests itself mostly from waist up. I get it from feeling as though people perceive my chest larger than how I feel it should be. So I wear a binder pretty much all the time, which PSA, you're not supposed to do that. So top surgery is definitely a thing that I'm working towards, is a goal that I'm building myself up towards.
Okay. What do you normally do when you're feeling dysphoric? I know for me, when I'm dysphoric, I want to see no cis human beings. So I stay in the house usually when I'm super dysphoric, because cis people just infuriate me on those days. But how do you normally cope? I know you're working on top surgery, but what is the short term?
Wearing my binder for longer than is necessary usually, but I think a lot of it is just avoiding the perception of myself or how I think people have perceived me. And that seems to alleviate at least some amount of dysphoria that I feel on particularly bad days.
So you have navigated so many different arenas and spaces with yourself and your identity. What is one thing that you would want young trans people to know that are just getting out there, just learning how to advocate for themselves, just learning how to like name who they are, what's one piece of advice you would like to give them?
God, find your community. I think that's so important. And I know that's like such a privileged thing to say, because a lot of trans kids aren't able to come out, and that's so hard, but there are people out in the world who want to accept you and who will accept you, and I think it's so important to find those people as quickly as possible. If you can find your community, hold on to those communities and embrace those communities and become a community for somebody else.
You heard it here first, everyone. Find your community or build your community. And if you can't do either of those at home, social media is a great tool to build those connections. Thanks so much for joining Jayne and I today. If you have any thoughts or questions, please leave a comment below and we'll be sure to respond. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media.